Geez, I hope I've done the right thing. Welcome to DMOP Garage. We are working back on the 54 barn door single cab. If you're new to the channel, check out the previous episodes in the playlist and you can catch up. For the regular viewers, we're onto the roof, finally. We've done a little bit of gutter welding, I'm going to show you, but we have some problems. Always seems to have problems, eh? Every week, I don't know. Anyway, what's going on here is we've got, let me just jump up. Now, this is the little Gerson beak that we have to graft onto the roof that we've been talking about. Now, you can see our central point here. There's our crease in the middle, and obviously that has to line up like that, okay? Now, check this out. You have a look at that side over there, and doesn't seem to want to line up very good. What I might do here, I might grab a couple of clamps and just see if I can fandangle that into position, but I don't know. It looks to me to be too long. So I might have to relief cut this down the middle here and join it back together. Give me 5 seconds. But anyway, apart from that, you can see in the background there, the gutters are on both sides. So we have measured that up off the BBT roof, so that we know that's going to be all good to go. So yeah, I'll get the tripod, stick you guys on that, and let's have a look here. I'm interested to see if I can get... Oh no, maybe it does fit. Okay, what we'll do, let's go and grab a couple of clamps. Don't know how we're going to go about clamping that. That could be an issue. Let's see. Righto guys, so after a little bit of fandangling, it actually does fit. It just needed to be kind of bent and tucked into its little gutter. You can see where I've clamped it. But yeah, no need to chop it in half, so everything is good. It does follow the contour around, so that bit's fine. We're good with that. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to, you know what, I'm just going to jump around the other side and chuck this roof on top and just see what happens. I think the clamps are probably going to get in the way. Let's have a bit of a look and see how we can start to fandangle this. As I suspected, those clamps are touching here, so yeah, it's not going to work. This is me just thinking out loud here, but part of me thinks if we just tack this section of the roof in position where it is right now, then that will free up this real estate here so we can get rid of all the clamps, which means then the roof will come down, and I reckon then all I can do is come on the inside here and trace this with a marker and cut it. That's not a bad idea. But I'm also thinking now too, I don't know if we need these tabby parts here that are sticking out. I could probably just lop that straight across down like that, which will make us, it won't be such a complex, yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll just chop it straight down on an angle because we've got the roof behind it, unless that profile is wrong, which I don't think it is. Well, we won't know until we put it in. Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a full send moment because if I weld it in, I'm not going to be able to take it back off again unless I just maybe do 4 tacks. I think that might be the go. What I'll do is punch out all the holes because it is going to have to be plug welded all the way around, but only weld a couple in, so if I have to drill them out for whatever reason I can. But I'm just thinking I can drop the roof straight on top and hopefully that will do it. Let me have a think about this. So we have taken the roof back off. I have also gone and punched all the holes around the lip because we're going to have to plug weld that section on, and also we're going to have to plug weld these. So you can see I've gone and used my little air compressor tool to stamp all the holes all the way around. That's going to be crimped over as well. And what I've done just loosely, you can see here with the texter, I've marked sort of the no-go zone where we're sort of marrying up to that panel. So I've come back a bit just to be on the safe side, and what I'm going to do is cut this section out here, get rid of this, and then go and plonk the roof on. Now, hopefully it should just go on and be nicely butted up against the beak part up there.
Yeah. No.
Now, I've cut it in such a way that it's symmetrical on both sides, so that if someone wants this piece for rust repairs down the track, they can use it. So I don't really want to go any closer to the line here, just in case we make a mistake, and then we're going to have more welding to do. So yeah, it's a bit of a point of no return now. We've got to cut that section off and place it on, and we're sort of going with this plan forward. Now, I'm sure I could have done it another way. Maybe I could have put that part roof on first, and then, but of course the beak is, this overhang is in the way, so I've got to get rid of the overhang either way. So I think this is the right way to go. So yeah, let's cut this off and see what happens. Wish me luck. Geez, I hope I've done the right thing. Right, let's get this roof on. Okay, so far so good. Just got to get these clamps out of the way, because they're stopping us from getting it into its position. So if I undo this, theoretically, we should be able to... Oh, I think I like it. I think I like it. A little bit of tension, but that will bend down nice. I mean, that's on top of each other, so obviously it's going to be a little bit less stress on it. This is really sharp. I've got to fix that. Let me get this on it quickly. It's in the gutters, so we're good there. We're in the gutters both sides. Obviously this peak here is, yeah, it's going to have to curve a bit more. This seems to be too, yeah, we might have to cut this back a bit further, because this seems to be under tension, or it seems to be too bulbous, so we might take a bit more material out of that, which might help the cause. The other side seems to be right on the money for some reason. It does too. Oh, hang on, no, that's not right. All right, I'll bring you guys back in, but I think we're on a winner. We just got to manipulate it and get it a bit set. Righto, so a little bit more progress. Let me just show you what's going on. It's not perfect, and we definitely have some issues that I'm going to have to nut out. But you can see, if I hop up here, this profile from here to there, they marry up almost perfectly. You can see it just needs a bit of a pressing down. This can be pressed down, and we're pretty much golden here. The problem is this side over here is, you can see it's bulbous and it's sticking up a lot more than the other side, which is kind of telling me that the roof skin's too wide for the footprint that we have. So I'm going to have to get creative with this this section here, because you can see there's no way in the world we're going to be able to press that down without... You can see what it does. As soon as I try to press that down, it distorts that up there. So it's definitely not as easy as I hoped for in terms of grafting the two together. You can see there's a big gap here. And I mean, I can squash that down, but it bowls out there. So yeah, a little bit more nutting out and thinking what the plan forward is going to be here, because you got one shot at this. I don't want to go cutting material off any more material. I mean, I've taken the V out of it. But in terms of the profile of it, I looked onto the original roof here, and you know, you get down like that and look at it on that angle there, and it's pretty much bang on. I mean, you know, I thought about actually grafting, like chopping this section here out and using all that, but this metal's just too far gone. You'll end up just with rust coming through the paintwork in, you know, 5-6 years time. So No, we'll stick with brand new metal because that's what we've got up there. But I'm just, yeah, I'm going to have to work out. My other idea was to try to shorten that radius on that curve is to cut it down the middle a little bit. So I don't know how that would work, but this is what I'm thinking. If I make a cut through here, straight down, then I can bring that close, like tighten it up and then re-weld it. But again, it's more work, so I don't know. I mean, that just looked bloody perfect here. Like that just follows that. Look at that, you can just cleco that down and tack it and you'd be good to go. Yeah, problems over here. So anyway, I'll bring you back in when I've got a bit more info of what to do. Okay, so the nutting out procedure continues. I will show you what we've had to do. So basically the roof is too wide for the gutters by about 15 millimeters. So what I've had to do is recut or rebend this side gutter piece here. So you can see now it actually fits in without that huge bulbous bit that was here. So it just meant I had to run down the side of that, cut it, and rebend it with a new lip. You can see I haven't actually stamped in the plug holes to weld it. So I've put a couple of clecos in here, but what's happening when it gets to the middle here, you can see it doesn't want to sit, obviously, because of the peak underneath. Now, we're going to have to trim this back so that we can have this part of the roof here be happy, because this all clamps down reasonably well. Same with this side here. You can see this side here I might have to do a little bit of clearance on that lip too, because I'm seeing a little bit of bowing going on there, so that might have to get taken out and rebent as well. But yeah, look, it's just it's just going to be a slow process now to get this thing to blend, because we've got to get this to blend in. We can't have obviously a sharp angle here. So this is our issue here, because there is a peak. The peak's about 23 millimeters long, because I've actually measured it off the one over there and added a bit for the extra rusted section. So yeah, I think what we might do here is just trim back a little bit more of this metal here, because we want to keep obviously that underneath, and then we'll see how we're going to go about actually joining all this together. It's definitely not going to be easy. I can see this already, and you know, I'm no metal forming wizard. You know, I'm just going along as I'm going along here. So it's something, it could work or it could not work, and you guys will see all of it, because I'm not editing anything out here. So I'm just trying to nut it out as I go. But I can see that we're going to definitely have a transitional issue from this panel to this panel right at that point there. Yeah. Okay, I'll bring you back in a second. So we have a little more progress. You can see I've just added some clecos to the front just to try to get the profile right. And I'm just basically copying, or trying to copy, this sort of curve here, which is proving to be a little bit difficult, because I think the actual roof shape of the BBT panel is not the same. So we've really got to try to get it in the ballpark. I'm just going to show you here what's going on. So it's pretty close. It's just that little section of the peak there. I've made a little cardboard cutout of the curve where it has to go. So we've just got to fandangle it a little bit more. But I mean, look, I got the clecos in, all this sits down, so it's getting there. It's just that middle piece there. And I'm thinking we might, I don't know if we're going to have to graft. I'm actually going to grab the porta power and just try and push it from inside the cab up to see if we can get it a bit more bulbous in that peak section, or above the peak section, I should say, and then see what happens with that. Yeah, we'll give that a go and bring you back in.
2 hours later.
Okay, so I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We have our profile correct. I've used our little template here to put that onto the roof, and we're all good. It's a little bit wavy at the front, but that's fine. All this is going to get chopped off anyway once we weld it. But you can see I've clecoed across it, tried to shrink some of the metal, because obviously the roof shape is different to that. So we've got to make it look like that. So yeah, I'll just hop up here. I can show you a little bit more. But yeah, it's looking good. It's actually looking good. I got more of a hump in it just in front of this section, just in there. So I've lifted it up, and everything's lining up now. I had to do a little bit of shrinking in these corners. So what we're going to do now, I can't just start relief cutting this and welding it because I'm not going to be able to get to the section in here behind there to hit it with a grinder. So I've got to take the roof off now. I've scribed the inside. You can see in there, I've scribed it. And what I'm going to do is cut this part of the roof out up to about here, pop the roof back in. I can then tack weld those corners on both sides, and then I can re-cleco it, and then we're going to do that 1.8mm cut-off wheel and just start trimming across here, tack weld, and then keep going. Now I'm going to have a whole lot of holes to plug up later from the clecoing, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about that. I mean, look, there's going to be a bit of metal work around this front section anyway, so to get it to blend and look nice, and there'll probably be a bit of filler there too, I'd imagine. But at least we've got the peak here, right? Happy about that. And it's going to work, yeah, a little bit of work. I've spent a couple of hours this morning just trying to work out how to... I ended up using the porta power down there to push up the middle of the roof because it was just it had too much of a weird ass ramp angle to it. So I pushed up the middle and then came across the front and clecoed it. So I don't know what's wrong with him. He must be sick today. Look at him. He's bent over. All his mates are like, mate, what's going on, mate? Anyway, all right, we'll get this roof off. We'll cut those sides out and then put it back on again. Right, so we are going to start doing some tack welding. We'll just start along the gutter, along this section here. I'll just get both sides done, and then we can start going on to the front. And we're going to do some relief cuts as well as just some tacks. And then we'll come back later with the TIG welder and actually TIG up the entire front. So let's just start on the sides now. Try to get them as flat as you can. Sometimes when you're doing these plug welds, they do volcano up and then it's just a pain in the neck to grind them back. But we're really trying to get a flat weld, which at the moment I've got 21.5 amps on it. So I'm hoping that's going to be enough. Most of them are pretty flat. Some of them have got a bit on there. Okay, we'll go over to the other side now. Now what we're going to do is, we might do a little bit of tacking here as well, just to bring that up. We've got to actually cut this section off, so I might just put a few tacks here. This is way too hot to do tacks. Drop it down to about 18. Yeah, probably 18. Well, what we want to do here is make sure we use this guy. Large clamp. Whack a tack just there. Ooh, get that balance sorted. There you go. Yeah, you know what, I might leave the rest of this. I'll go over to the other side and we'll put a couple of tacks on this section on the other side. Okay, so I'm thinking what we're going to do here, do we just trim straight across here first? Where's our line? It's kind of going that way, isn't it? Might plunge cut it from inside. I think that's probably a better idea. Okay, we're going to do that. I'm going to get the grinder. We're going to put this to here. I'm going to come inside and cut it from inside. That should work. Technically, probably going to be spark, so. Now, butt clamps, butt weld clamps. And we do have a few of them. This is what we want. So these will sort out our levels. And make sure we're nice and level. It's all about making sure okay. So that takes care of that. Now, we've got 3 holes to deal with here from the clecos. We can actually take these out of here now. Really just to line things up for now. The rest of it, shoop, straight across, and then we keep going. I think we're looking good so far. All right, I'll bring you guys back in when we've completed a little bit more. Right, let's have a look at the progress. Da-da! Yeah, I am stoked. At one point I was thinking to myself, we are in big trouble with this roof, but I have managed to, I don't know how I do it sometimes, seriously. Not bad for a surfboard maker, eh? So I'm thinking it's 28 years you're spending your time staring at shapes, well, surfboards and shapes and curves and all that, and you've got an eye. You can just go, nah. Looking good, looking good. Obviously, I've just ground back these tacks. We're going to go back over it with a TIG welder now because I want a nice soft weld. This angle here is still a little bit so we have to round this a bit more, and we'll just do that with a hammer and dolly. But apart from that, the peak came out perfect, like that. Goes up to here, which is right on the money, and the side profile is bang on. I managed to use the porta power, you can have a look here, just to push up that centre there, because it was a little bit too angled on the front, and I wanted to obviously get it as close as I could to the front one, using my little template here, and it's spot on. So yes, stoked, absolutely stoked, because, you know, this is going to be the most daunting part. I definitely wasn't looking forward to it. Obviously some tigging to do now, but the majority of that part is done. I've still got a plug weld up the back along here. I haven't done that yet, and I've got a peen over the edge. So a little bit more work. All right, we'll keep moving on with it. Okay, so we'll show you a little bit more progress now. Let's hop up on the ladder, and then we go. We've done a little bit more work to it. You can see there's still some little imperfections just in those couple of spots, which we'll just do a little bit more hammer and dolly work. But, you know, the bulk of it's done. I did have to straighten that. It was a little bit crooked from the factory, so we fixed that. No, she's she's looking real good. I'm stoked with this. So next thing we've got to do is just weld up the inside little plates, which are these ones here. These plates here, which go inside here. We also do need to just grind these welds back. I don't think these things had headlinings in them. I'm not sure, but yeah, look, I'll obviously metal finish the inside of it as well so that you don't see any of that unsightly mess. And then we've also got these parts here which go on the sides up there. So we've got to get those welded on. And then a little bit more, there's still a little bit more work in here, just a couple of, you know, grinding a few welds back and forth. And then I think from there, let's have a look. Oh, I've got to just also re-drill the Safari bolts that run through here. We've got to put those in so that we can have them mounted for the final time. I've also peened over the edge. That's been done, top part. And then I think the next thing we're going to have to do after this is roll this sucker outside, clean this shed up a bit more, and we need to paint the chassis. because once the chassis is painted, then I can start moving forward with the floor, because once the floor's welded on, it's going to be really hard to get everything painted. So, yep, I reckon that is going to do it for this episode, guys. Thanks again for sticking around, and yeah, totally stoked with the roof. I didn't think it was going to come out that good straight off the bat. I thought I'd be using a lot more filler, but it's almost like no filler at all. So, yeah, stoked. All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next episode.